evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Trackalicious Sim Racing. We are joined today by the legend himself, Cardo Huesca from Cardo Racing School. Good evening, Cardo. How are you today?
You are the legend. How are you, man?
I am doing excellent. Very excited, very pumped, very eager to hear what we've got going on today. We have the detailed track walk by Cardo Racing School of the legendary Nurburgring racetrack. I think it's called the Nurburgring GP track.
Yep.
Very excited about this one because it is in preparation for our 2 hour, 40-minute endurance solo drive coming up this Saturday in partnership with the great guys from 949. Shout out to 949, just ending their stream at Kailami, a night wet race. What an insane race that was.
Yeah, it was a crazy race. Crazy. But super entertaining, and I always have my popcorn ready.
Yeah, those guys, I mean, the pace that grid has is unreal. I always enjoy watching it. The competitiveness is amazing. So really, really cool to watch, especially considering there are good friends. So very nice to see that always happening over on the other side at 949. So welcome everyone. Let's get into it. I think I just saw a notification. I don't know what is going on. I'll try to figure out in a second. But thank you, whatever that notification was. And with that, I will give it over to you, Mr. Huesca.
It was 9 for 9 reading. So welcome in 9 for 9.
Welcome everyone, and thank you so much, Phil. We were just saying, love the race. It was really exciting, very cool to watch, and appreciate the raid so much. And let's get into it. Detailed track walk by Mr. Cardo Huesca. We should call you Professor Cardo Huesca. I'm going to start calling you Professor from now on. So, Coach, go ahead. The screen is all yours.
Thank you, man. So Nurburgring is a very fun track. Has a very good flow. It requires a lot of trail braking and to be very aware of the track limits. Um, you have to get the power down at a very specific moment so you can get out of the corner super fast. So let's go to turn one, which I just passed. So turn one is a very hard braking zone, and the issue, air quotes issue, with turn one is it's not straight, like completely straight. It goes to the right a little bit. Now we have to look for our um, braking references for our braking zone. So first, we're gonna see this little dude right here, or the orange mark on the fence as our start of our braking zone. Then we're gonna look for our 100 board on the left, which it will probably be gone at lap two. It's very common. Uh, those are the first two references, and my preferred reference for the breaking point or breaking zone, it is the start of the grass on the left. So we're gonna take that for our references. Why am I doing so many references for turn one? The thing is, turn one is super deadly, especially at the start of the race. So when the race starts, we have to keep in mind this three references for our braking. Think about this. If you're going full speed, let's say in lap two, you're going full speed, your braking references are this. So if you're starting the race, you're gonna have a lot of speed. You're gonna carry a lot of speed. Why? Because the start finish line is like right in the middle. But if you have a big grid, they're gonna be carrying a lot of speed. So you're not going to be able to brake too deep past these references because you're going to find a lot of traffic right here. So, um, my recommendation for turn one is look for these references. Don't brake too late. Probably if you're at the front of the pack, you can brake right about probably before the 50 board, but it's around here. So just be very, very careful in turn one at the start of the race. So turn one, those references, we're gonna brake at or near the 100 board or the start of the grass right here. So hard braking zone, keep the car on the left. Don't move over to the right. You need a good and wide entry uh, for turn one. If you move to the right and take a very narrow racing line, your exit is not going to be good, and you're going to be super wide on the exit. So be focus on the corner entry. Try to get the car as close as you can to the rumble strip on the right. Probably gonna miss it, but yeah, I was a little too late on the brakes. But try to get the car very close to the rumble strip right there or the curb, and try to get the car to turn without oversteering too much. Now, this corner is very special because it has a change of elevation right here. So this change of elevation is actually going to help the car to turn into the corner and to change the angle that the car is going to be pointing at. So turn one, I missed the apex. Sorry. Don't go too wide on the exit. Just keep the car right about the middle of a track. Move over to the right as quickly as possible so you can get a good and wide entry for the next corner. Now, this corner is tricky because sometimes you can get away with just lifting the throttle instead of braking. But depending on your setup, you can actually tap the brake so you can help the car turn into the corner. Um, References for this one, it is this patch or exit road or whatever this is on the right. You can use this. I usually use this edge right here as my reference that I have to lift the throttle or tap the brakes so it can turn into the corner. So we're going left. We're going to get very, very close to the left and actually go on the rumble strip on the left. The rumble strip is actually going to help you to turn the car a little bit into the corner. Now, the throttle point or your exit should be very, very precise. If you go on the throttle too early, you're going to end up super wide on the exit. If you go too late, no, did I mess it up? Yeah. If you go too early, yeah, you're going to end up super wide. If you go too late, you're probably going to get power oversteer. So you have to get the power down at the right moment. Let the car go super wide on the exit. Track limits here, just keep the left tires on the rumble strip. Just be careful with the green stuff on the right. It is super slippery. If it's raining, do not touch it. It is like driving on ice. So be careful with that. Keep the car wide until it feels stable and look for your next braking point. So as a reference for the braking, we're going to have the end of the green stuff on the left, on the right, and the start of the runoff or the exit road on the left, right here. So those are the two references. Why am I pointing out this one? Because if you're overtaking someone, they're going to be covering the end of the green stuff on the right. So you can use this so you don't brake too late and run over the guy on your right. It's not a hard braking zone. Just you need to step on brakes, slow the car down just enough so you can make it to the corner. It's not too hard. Now, be careful with the downshifts around here because if you downshift too aggressive towards the entry of the corner, the car is going to try to step out. The rear is going to just slide around. So be careful with the downshifts for this one. So we're going to try to put the car very, very close to the left. Um, Here, you can stay on the rumble strip or put the car on the inside of the rumble strip, right here where the drain is. That is actually going to help the car turn a little bit more into the corner so you can carry more speed through this corner. Because we have a right-hander right away, we're going to compromise the exit of this corner. We're not going to go wide on exit. We're going to keep the car on the left and we're going to focus on corner entry and corner exit for the next one. Usually, most cars you can take this one in second gear. Uh, Probably in the GTR you can take it in third gear, but uh, as far as I know, pretty much all the cars in second gear. If you take it in first gear, the car will be super nervous or super responsive on acceleration. Go on the curb on the right. It is very tricky here because if the setup it's not, especially dampers, if the dampers are not right, the car is going to jump around and you're going to lose traction coming out of the corner. Uh, if you're going on the curb and the car tries to oversteer, most of the time it's because the front suspension is too soft. So one way to fix that is by stiffening up the front suspension. So on the curb, full throttle, get on the throttle as early as possible so you can get a good exit. And we're gonna let the car go super wide on exit.
So
Be careful.
S-
Yeah,
Cardo,
go ahead.
selfishly, I'm gonna ask to if we could maybe go through that section. I think it's a section that a lot of people have challenges with. Maybe go in car view so we could get a better idea of what those reference points look like.
Review. This is a no. Yeah,
No.
I hate this helmet cam. Let's go from turn one and full speed. And exit.
So it seems like you're exercising a lot of patience on under throttle to make sure that the car is ready to be pointed in the right direction before getting on it. Because and correct me if I'm wrong. For example, this corner, so much potential for understeer. Corner before, a lot of like potential for understeer and going wide. So really have to exercise a lot of patience through. I guess this is corner two, corner three. Um, and even four, right? As you are patient in making sure the car it stays as far to the left as possible and get a good entry into corner four so that you can get on the throttle as early as possible.
Yeah, I mean it depends also on the car. Um, and the track is very special because you have a super bumpy chicane in the third sector. Uh, the changes of elevation also change how the car feels. So, and some corners you have to be super patient with the throttle, but in the second sector, you have to be super, super early on the throttle just to help the car turn into the corner or out of the corner. So I think it really depends on the setup. You have to find the perfect balance between how soft you can get away with the suspension and how stiff you need the suspension. So every time you do any setup work, try to get the car as soft as possible, but as stiff as necessary. But yeah, the first sector is just all about patience. You have to be very, very patient, and you have to wait for the grip to go live so you can punch it and get out of the corners. You're totally right. So the exit. Let me get the free cam. We're gonna let the car go super, super wide on the exit. Be very careful with the track limits. Uh, it's very common to go over track limits because you're trying to get out of this corner as fast as you can, as early as possible. So on the steer, on power, it is super possible. Um, so we're gonna let the car go wide, but keep the car on the track. Uh, 2 tires right here. This is like the actual limit. 2 tires very close to the white line or actually touching the white line. That is like the max you can go. If you go wider on this, you're gonna invalidate the lap. So be very, very careful.
And for those who are doing the enduro, you probably don't want to get that close to the line because you have 2 hours and 40 minutes of track limits you got to consider. So it would probably
That is
be
correct.
advised to be a little bit more conservative on that exit to ensure that you could go through the race without getting a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, if you're doing quali, I will actually go this wide. And if you look at the track, you see how there is like an invisible line after the white line. Do you see it?
Yeah.
That is a track limits. That is the actual track limits. So that's why this lap was valid. I was still on this invisible line
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
These are the track limits. So if you're doing quali, just push as hard as you can. If you are racing for the enduro, keep the right tires on the inside. Just use the white line as your limit. But yeah, yeah, this one is very, very tricky, and you are right. If you're doing 2.4 hours here, you don't want to use in a bad way your three track limits. So yeah, full throttle. Um, this corner is very tricky because you have to find the perfect turning point for this one. If you turn in too early, you're gonna go on the grass and then you're gonna crash. If you go too late, you're gonna on the steer and you're gonna end up on the grass. So we have to be very careful with the turning point or the turning reference. Now, braking for this one, we're gonna use these cones are actually gonna be gone because like I'm doing it right now. It's very common to go over the cones.
If you're not taking out the cones, you're not trying hard enough.
Yes, exactly. You have to take out the cones. So, uh, braking reference, it is the start of this square thing, rumble strip, whatever that is, and this area right here. This is like the first braking reference. Now, uh, you need to find the last part where you can actually brake. On some cars, it is the division between the darker side of the track and the lighter side. So I usually brake right about here, if I'm not mistaken. So hard on the brakes. We're gonna try to trail brake a little bit. It's not a lot in my opinion. You have to wait for the grip to stay there and you have to keep the car as close as possible to the left. Now, for the turning reference, you can use uh, the end of this runoff area or the end of this gray or brown rumble strip right here. You have to pick a reference from the inside. Actually, let's go on the inside to see where's the turning. Uh, Change camera. Right, so the braking, it is right about here. Downshift, and we turn it just before the end right here. This is like my braking reference, turning reference for this corner. Uh, this is my case. It doesn't mean that you have to turn right here. It's what I use for this corner. Also depends on your setup as well. If the setup has more understeer, you're probably gonna need to turn in a little bit early. If the car is super oversteery or it just rotates a lot, you can probably turn a little late. But it is around this area right here. Very patient with the car. You have to wait for the grip to be there and be sure that you have the grip. You want to get on the throttle as early as possible so you can get a good exit. Right here, after the apex, I'm on the throttle. We're trying to not to let the car go super wide on exit because we need a very good entry on the next corner. But if you go wide, just be careful. This section is very slippery. Dry or wet, it is super, super slippery. So try not to touch it. Braking reference for this one, it is the start of the red and white yellow rumble strip on the right. That is like the best reference you can have. But if you are overtaking on the outside, which is possible, use the end of the left side as the braking reference. Hard on the brakes, downshift once, I think. We're going to see the lap later. But we're going to treat this corner as a double apex. So if you look here, there is one apex right here, then goes a little bit like straight, which is this section, and then it gets tighter around here. So when I say double apex, it doesn't mean that you have to let the car go super wide and then come back. It just means that you need to hit the first apex, which is this one, let the car go wide a little bit, and then come back to the second one and go on the throttle as early as possible. Then come back and pull on the throttle. Let the car go super wide on the exit. Track limits here are not very sensitive, so you can actually use a little bit more track that I did. Uh, just don't go on the sand or the dirt. That it's probably not gonna make the car spin, but you're gonna lose a lot of time. It's like pulling the e-brake right there. Keep the car on the left. Don't move over to the right. If you move over to the right, you're gonna lose a little bit of speed and time. Probably for one lap, it is okay if you move to the right a little bit. But if you're doing 2.4 hours, you're going to try to save as much distance from point A to point B and time as you can. So don't move over to the right. Just keep the car on the left. Now, braking for this one, it is super, super tricky. because there are actually no references for this one, other than the start of this section, this brown rumble strip on the left. That is like your probably only reference. You can use that one, but what I do is I try to break like a car and half length before this section.
So,
So
if I could help a little bit here, Cardo, I'm going to give some of my secrets to my competitors so they can beat me even more tomorrow. So, one of the things I noticed yesterday is there's 3 different color patches of grass right before the little um, concrete patch on the left hand side. So, there's the light green, then there's the yellow, and then there's the dark green, right?
this
So
one,
yeah, so it's light green and then yellow where you're looking at the yellow brown, and then it gets slightly darker green. So those are 3 points that you could use potentially as like spots that you could adjust as specific brake markers. So for example, for me in the wet it was before the dark green, and in the dry it was after the dark green.
yeah, exactly. You can find those actually references. Those are super good. What I usually use it is this one, but also the tire marks on the ground, as you can see right here.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit lighter. Those are a little bit more visible, probably. And if you're racing at night, it's probably hard to see some of these very light patches on the grass. But they're very good references for the braking, especially because this braking is just super tricky. Another thing that you can do for the braking is, no, let me change the camera. The other one, this one. Let me go back there. As you can see on your right, you're gonna see the tower, the yellow tower on the right. It is partially aligned with the windshield wiper. So when you see that alignment, you step on the brakes. That's the other reference that you can use for this one. So uh, sometimes it is a little bit easier, and also it depends on your FOV. The field of view is going to change everything around you. If you have the wrong settings, your perception of the references are going to be different. So yeah, you can use the as you said, the patch on the grass. You can use the tower, or you can use these marks on the ground for this one. But yeah, it's
That
very
tower
tricky.
one is that alien type references for you guys. That's Coach Cardo style, next level shit right there.
I love those kind of references because and actually I found out about those references because well, most of the time I'm racing VR, but a few months ago my VR headset just took a shit. So I had to turn to come back to the screen, and it was very hard for me to use the same references that I usually use for my braking. So what I did was to align something on the track to perfectly align to something on the inside of the car. It could be the windshield wiper. It could be the actually the race logic on the right. It could be the air vent right next to the race logic. It could be actually the dash. It could be whatever you find on the car that aligns with something on the track. You can use that as the actual braking reference instead of using an alignment from the track to the car, if that makes sense. But yeah,
Yeah,
the FOV is going to change everything.
yeah. And what I like about, I'm gonna try your tower reference because it's a really good one. What I like about that is it's in the direction of the corner, so you're already trying to stare at the apex, so it's less peripheral vision and it's more directly in sight. So I'm definitely gonna try that one out tonight.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's a huge reference. I mean, look at it, super big.
That's
But yeah.
what she said.
Oh, she did. So super bright, hard on the brakes. Keep the car on the left, and you're gonna start moving towards the corner at the and start of the rumble strip, the brown rumble strip on the left. It's like right about there. So you can use that as a turning point. We're gonna trail brake into this corner as deep as you can. And we're gonna do a double apex. So first apex, it is around here. You're gonna let the car go wide a little bit, and then you're gonna come back to the second apex. Uh, that is one way to take this one. The other way is to go early into the corner, keep the car close to the right, to the curb, and get out uh, the same way. But I think the fastest way around this corner is doing a double apex and trail braking as deep as possible. Here I'm still on the brakes a little bit. I was going a little too fast. Let the car go wide. Wait for the grip. And when the car has that grip, you're turning into the second apex and go full on the throttle. I'm using right here the throttle to turn the car for the last part of this corner. Let's actually watch that again. So I'm going too early on the throttle. We're gonna watch it in full speed. Full throttle. Car is turning with the throttle. Now that is one way to do it. The other way is just to wait for your actual exit instead of forcing the car to turn with the throttle. So right about here, you can go on the throttle if you feel like the car is oversteering, has a lot of power oversteer. We're gonna let the car go super wide on the exit, and as soon as you feel like the car is stable, uh, you're gonna move back into the track and start moving, switching from the left to the right so you can get ready for the next braking zone. Now, these corners. I know you love these corners. They're
This
super fun.
in the
Yeah.
Porsche was a nightmare for me. And
Well,
any lap is a lap that I could spin in this. And I don't know how other people are. I'm sure they're much better drivers than me, but it was this. I hated this corner. It's scary every single lap. So I was probably 20% slower than everybody else just to make sure that I could survive through the race. And the
why you had
BMW,
oversteer?
yeah, yeah. After going through that first left-hander, I would just bin it, just snap oversteer.
Stiffen up the front.
Well,
The front suspension is too soft.
that was my last season with the Porsche. The BMW feels much better.
Well, the BMW is 4x4 almost. So yeah, you can just throw the car into the corner and the car is not even gonna move.
Yeah.
So it's a tank. But actually, very good reference about this one because we there are two ways to take this corner. First, we're not gonna brake for this one. We're probably just gonna lift the throttle right about here. You can use as a reference this light pole right here, lonely light pole, as your reference. What I mean by that is, let me go back into the car so you can see it. So going there, we're gonna focus on the light pole right there on the right. We're gonna go over the curb And again, the light pole is aligning with the windshield wiper. So that is my case. Doesn't mean that you have to do it the same way, but you can use the same reference for the turning point. You can use that light pole. Also, there is this on the grass. It gets a little bit lighter right here. You have a big patch on the grass. So you can use that as your turning reference as well. But light pole, patch on the grass, turn. We're gonna lift the throttle just to help the car rotate a little bit. And the two ways to take this corner is first, you can go over the curb a little bit more than this. Uh, if the car feels stable, the curb is actually going to help the car turn a little bit more. And the other way is just to avoid the curb. So if the car is oversteering, as soon as you touch the curb, just either fix the setup or just don't touch the curb. But we're going to lift the throttle a little bit. We're going to go on the throttle as early as possible, usually after the apex, just after the apex. And we're going to focus on keeping the throttle at 100% through this uh, after the first apex. So full throttle, try to put the car as close as possible to the right without touching the sand, of course. And we're going to let the car go wide on the exit.
And I think in the wet, green is death. So avoid the green
Yes
patch.
and no, because if you think about it, if you touch the, let me go back. But that's actually a very good point. If you touch this curve in the wet, you're probably going to be fine. Why? Because the weight of the car is going to the right. So the left tires are lighter and they are not actually uh, changing how the car is going to grip. The grip is on the right side. And if you go on the green stuff right here, you're turning to the right. So there is no weight on the right tires. So you can actually get away with going on the green stuff on the right, on the wet. Because you're turning too hard and too fast to the right, the weight of the car is moving to the left, if that makes sense. But on exit, if you touch this, you're gone. So yeah, in the wet, just don't go over this green stuff. I usually, even in the dry, I usually don't go over this unless I had a very, very good entry on this one, on the first corner, and a very good exit and entry on the second corner. But other than that, I usually keep the car on the track. All right, so we're gonna move over to the right. Do it super, super smoothly. Don't be aggressive with the shift from the left to the right, because you're gonna lose time. I love this corner. I truly do. I don't know why. Braking reference. We're gonna see the 100 board right here. If the board is gone, you can use the start of green stuff on the right. You can use the elf board. If the board is gone, again, you're gonna come back to this one. If you are overtaking, you can use the start of the grass right here. So you can use that as your reference. It doesn't mean that you have to brake here because actually the my braking point it is around here if I'm not mistaken. So, but those are the references for the braking. Are on the brakes. A lot of people go very actually go on the green stuff for the entry. I find it too slippery, very, very slippery. So I try not to touch it a lot so I can stay on the grip. But yeah, it's not my style. A lot of people use it. I don't. I think it's super risky. Hard on the brakes, down to second gear. We're gonna try to go over the curve and use as much curve as we can. Early on the throttle because of the bank angle. Let me go back here so you can see the bank angle right here. Because you have a bank angle right here, you can go super early on the throttle. Super early on the throttle. So this corner, you can take it a little bit faster than it looks. So just be brave. Where's it going? There it is. Early on the throttle, let the car go wide, but not too wide. If it's raining, do not touch this. Ever. Ever. It is super slippery. Actually, it's super slippery on the dry track. So don't touch it. It's just dead. And usually for this exit, you get a little bit of power oversteer. So just be careful with that. On the dry, you can go wide. As soon as you touch it, try to move over to the left so you can get ready for the next corner. Now, for this corner, some cars can benefit from a one downshift. Other cars can just stay in third gear. That is your personal preference, probably how you feel like the car is more stable. I usually stay in a higher gear so I can go on the throttle earlier than if I was in second gear. I think it's safer. So we have to be super patient with the car because the car is going to try to understeer for this one. Uh, if you're going too slow, the car is going to turn in too much and you're going to touch this curve. Uh, do not touch the curve. It will unsettle the car. So just get as close as possible to the curve. And if you have the grip, go super early on the throttle for this one. Super early because you have a long straight after this exit. So try to get on the power as early as possible. Let the car go wide and actually super wide. You're gonna go over the green stuff on the left. As soon as you feel like the car is stable, there's a lot of grip right here actually on this one. On the wet, the grip is less, so just be careful with this one. But usually there's a lot of grip there, and it is very good to let the car go wide and gain a little bit more speed. We're almost done. So the straight slash corner, because this is actually a corner. We're gonna get very close to the right. Uh, this corner, it is very dangerous when you're overtaking someone or you're going too wide. It is just super tricky because sometimes you think the car is going to stick on the inside and the car just understeers a little bit. And if you have another guy right here, uh, the perception of this one, it looks a little bit different. Uh, so the guy on the left is going to try to turn a little bit more, and you're going to try to fight that understeer. So it gets very nasty sometimes here. So very careful if you're going too wide. If you're doing quali, just get close to the right and let the car go wide, but not too wide. You have the grip. You don't need to go super wide all the way over here. So save a little bit of time and keep the car uh, closer to the middle of a track, especially if you're doing enduro. Oh, the chicane. Thank you, Shy. But your voice is actually smoother. Asking for a friend. So, Braking for this one, the 50 board is probably a very good reference, but sadly, uh, a lot of people are going to knock over this 50 board. So we need to find another reference for this one. First reference is the change of color on the track. It gets darker around here. This is the actual my breaking point. So this is what I use, or at least from my FOV. Uh, if you cannot see this, you're gonna see this structure right here as your reference. Doesn't mean that you have to break there. It's just a reference for the breaking. So from your point of view, let's get in. It is right there, aligned to the rear view mirror. So hard on the brakes. We're gonna downshift usually twice for this one. Um, we have to be very smooth with this chicane, but after the first corner, we have to be a little bit aggressive with the throttle. So after this, just go full on the throttle, get very close on the first one. Try to forget. Get very close to this bump right here, but do not go over this bump. It will try to make the car fly. So do not touch the bump. Keep the tires on this rumble strip. The left tires on this rumble strip. For the next corner, full throttle. Try to keep your foot down. Trust the car. You should have grip. You can go over this bump on the right because you're carrying a little bit more speed. The car is not gonna jump around as much. And use as a reference for the racing line the green stuff right here. So you're gonna try to keep the right tires on this green stuff right here, and the exit of this corner should be around here. So right tires should go over this. If you touch the grass, you can actually get a puncture for this one. And yeah, for enduro is no no. So this is your exit. Don't go over the grass. Keep your foot down. Trust the car. If the car jumps around too much, just adjust the setup because this is all damper work. Well, most of the time. So that is the exit. Without touching the grass, just use this as your reference for the exit. This portion of the track. Let the car go wide and go over the curb. The yeah, it's a curb. Go over it. Keep the car there. We're gonna try to get a very smooth and wide entry for this one. For this corner, I usually try to do a late apex. So I get in. As soon as you get back down from this curve, you're gonna go on the brakes. References for this one, you can use this Fanatec board right here. You can use this as a reference. Also, there is a small patch, which is this one on the grass that you can use as a reference for when to turn in and when to brake. So those are the actual references for this one. Downshift into second gear. I usually don't use first gear for this one. I think it's overkill, so I just keep the car in second gear uh, because that keeps the car stable. It keeps the speed up and is going to help me with the corner exit. If you use first gear, the car is gonna try to get out of the corner too aggressive, and you can get a lot of power oversteer. So I usually keep it in second gear. Let apex early on the throttle, and we're gonna let the car go super wide on exit. So it didn't go too wide, but if you go wide, don't stay on the Rome strip. Just move the left tires to the green stuff right here. Don't stay on the Rome strip. The car is gonna jump up and down a lot. The suspension is gonna act weird, and you can actually lose a little bit of speed. It's not gonna make a huge difference, no. But if it's a long race, you can save a little bit of time and just put the car right here on this green stuff on the exit. And this is Nurburgring.
Cardo, can I ask that you go back to the chicane and do an in-car slow? I know that's
Yep.
it's a portion of the track that I think a lot of people can gain or lose time. So I think it's worthwhile for us to take another look at it from the driver's perspective.
Yeah, I'm gonna play at half speed. Let me do it again. For now, full speed.
And while we're watching this, again, if anyone has any questions, please let us know. We're about to do our full track run, full lap run, but also I know Cardo covers a lot of detail in here, but not nearly as much detail as he has in the bank of Cardo Racing School knowledge. So I would highly advise for some tailored guidance and coaching that you guys go to Cardo Racing School and take a lesson with him. His lessons are super detailed and very useful. Those exclamation point coach in chat. And at an extremely reasonable price. I think he's really fair and very detailed in his explanation. So, highly recommend it. I've done it. I know
Thank
a
you, man.
bunch of people from our server have gone into it and done it. Some OP drivers going for that extra little detail to do well at our endurance. So I'm looking forward to seeing their pace on track coming Saturday. So if you if you're feeling like you're getting stuck and um, just hit that barrier where you've worked hard and you just want a little bit more information to really push through that wall, Cardo is the man to go to. So highly recommend. You should look into it. At least try it once, and you'll see the difference.
Thank you, man. So we're gonna watch the that lap. The time was a 54.2, if I'm not mistaken. There was a little bit more time to find. The lap wasn't perfect. It's been a long time since I driven the Porsche, but it's a really fun track and car here. So yeah. So we're gonna go and watch the lap from the inside first, and then we're gonna go into third person so we can see the racing line. watch it again from the outside so we can see some racing line. The lap was not perfect, but it was close enough. That is Nurburgring.
Well, that was pretty phenomenal. Definitely a couple of things that I picked up today that I'm gonna go try after this stream. Hopefully, hopefully you guys got a bunch of information from it as well. Again, if you're really looking for a more tailored and detailed track guide, by all means, reach out to Cardo Racing School, CardoRacing.com, I believe, and
Yeah,
get some really detailed information on what suits you the best and what little minor adjustments you can make to get faster on track. With that being said, I'm gonna give you guys a second to see if there are any questions about anything on track or anything for Cardo or myself. For those who are still listening, we do have our 2-hour 40-minute solo enduro with 949 coming up this weekend, Saturday, March 12th at noon Eastern. It's going to be a crazy one. We do run variable weather, so come prepared to run wet or dry.
ooh, it's going to be super interesting,
I
especially in the wet. If it
Oh man,
rains, man,
it's our server has been, so we run our server to try and be somewhere between wet and dry, right? We try to play the game where we don't know which way it's gonna go, and we don't, none of the admins know, just like none of you guys know. We set it to be one way or the other. Um, so it does. We had some rain in our last enduro, and it got very interesting on strategies. Changing from dries to wet, staying on dries. Lots of time to be gained and lost. So it definitely will be a factor. And since the start of this season, we have seen OP Mike Jackson, aka Papa Kame, come through and take both wins on both of our 2-hour 40-minute solo enduro. So we will see if anyone can knock him off the pedestal on Saturday. Wishing him the best of luck, hoping that there's going to be a couple of people that give him a run for his money, but he is the man to beat right now. Papa Kame doing a fantastic job on both race 1 and 2, and expect nothing less on race 3. So good luck to him. Good luck to anyone out there. Um, I don't see any questions out there. Racer X absolutely is awesome. Um, Cardo, anything else from you?
No, just don't miss your breaking points. That's it. That's the most important thing about racing. Don't miss your breaking points. Even if you're pushing, even if you're overtaking, don't miss the breaking points. That's the key.
You know, I'll ask you a question, Cardo. So
Yep.
recently, I've improved my skill to a point where I get to race people. Before, I just used to fall behind and I was crappy, etc., etc. Now I'm close to people and I have opportunity to race and fight for position. How do you accommodate for breaking points when you are behind someone and can't see them?
Um, I will probably just move the breaking point. If you think about it, if you're very close to the guy in front and you brake at your same braking point, and the guy in front brakes a little bit early, you're gonna hit the guy. So if you are behind someone, just brake just a little bit earlier than your actual braking point. That is going to help uh, for the racecraft and don't hit the guy. Also, because you're braking a little bit early, you can actually get on the throttle a little bit early too. So you can get a very good exit. And especially for this track, you need to have very good corner exits. So you can actually overtake. Uh, if you're doing the enduro, don't be too aggressive because you don't want to mess up the race in the first laps. So just keep that in mind. I will, yeah. And if you are the guy in front, uh, don't brake too late. Your braking points are there for a reason. That means that if you brake after your braking point, you're gonna go wide. That is for sure. That is just pure physics. So don't miss the braking points.
Do you still use your breaking point references, or do you also adjust to look at the person ahead and maybe use their braking for references?
I use my breaking points, but I try to be aware of the brake lights of the other guy. So it's like a little bit of both, but more towards my actual breaking points. So if I'm behind someone and I know my breaking point is, let's say, the Pirelli sign, uh, I try to brake a little bit earlier than that, just a little bit, because the other guy is going to try, and well, most of the time, depending on who are you racing with, they're going to try to brake as late as possible. And if you put enough pressure, they're going to miss the braking point, and there's your overtake. Just keep your braking points. That's it. If you're going side by side, use your same braking point. If you're behind, brake a little bit early. That's it.
And I'll ask one last question to you.
Yeah.
At Nurburgring, what are the best corners to overtake at?
Best corners to overtake. Oh, good question, actually. Oh, fast. Turn one is a very good corner to overtake on the inside. If you go on the outside trying to overtake, it's not going to happen. It's most of the time it's not going to happen. But if you're going too wide on turn one, uh, divide the darker side of the track in two. So you're gonna use, if you're on the outside, use the outside uh, part of the dark part. Yeah, that sounds very weird. But if you're on the inside, keep the car on the inside and keep the car on the right. Don't move over to the left unless you can actually switch from the right to the left because you overtook the guy. So turn one is a good one. Uh, this one is, I don't think it's a very good corner to overtake unless you're on the inside and you're forcing the guy you're racing with to go wide and lose grip with this green stuff right here. Um, this one, I don't think it's a very good corner to overtake. I usually don't overtake for this one. I focus on getting a good exit out of this one so I can overtake and use the draft on straight. This one, mm, not my favorite to overtake. I will probably just stay there and just use this one to get close. Did I lose myself? Where am I? I'm lost.
Yeah, I think you jumped ahead to the Schumacher S's.
Yeah, I did. So it's where is the track? Okay, so this is a totally lost, dude. Okay. Found myself. Okay, so this one. Okay. I will use this to stay close to the guy in front. Just stay close, and get a very good exit on this corner. Super good exit. And get on the throttle as early as possible because you can overtake on this straight. Use the draft, move over to the right, and cover the inside. Uh, if you are still behind, I will try to go. If you're on the outside, I will try to go a little bit wider right here, doing the double apex, so I can get a super good exit for this one, so you can actually overtake. That is possible. For this one, don't go too wide. It's super risky, super risky in the Schumacher S. Um, this one it is risky, but it's possible to overtake here if you are on the inside. Uh, but also this one is very tricky because if you miss your braking point, uh, you can go super wide on the exit. So don't miss a breaking point. Again, that's why we have two references. Well, actually three. You have the start of the grass right here. If you're on the inside, you have the 100 board or the start of the grass on the right or the elf board. But yeah, try to, if you're overtaking someone, just try to put a lot of pressure before this corner. This corner actually works like magic. A lot of people go super wide right here. This corner, I will not try to overtake. I will just try to stay close and focus on the exit so you can have a very good exit and use the draft and overtake. Around here, you're going to wide, just be careful. And the chicane.
Too wide in
This
the
is,
chicane every time,
yeah,
right?
bro. Yeah, yeah, actually three wide. It is better if you go three
I've
wide.
seen it happen. I've seen people go too
Oh
wide
yeah.
into the chicane, and it's insane. But it was for an overtake, and they made it work. So credit to whoever did it. But I think it's a high risk maneuver, right? And in an endurance, the as Mr. Whelpcakes always says, your focus is not to lose time. And going for high risk maneuvers and getting damage is a great way to lose time. So focus on the
Yeah.
risk factor and really look at the long term goal.
Unless you know the guy you're racing very well and you know he's gonna stick to his side or her side, just you can go too wide. But if you're not sure, it is better to back off. If you are on the outside, if you're on the inside, just don't be an ass and crash into the other guy. But yeah, only if you know the guy super well, you can go too wide. But other than that, I will not go too wide. So yeah.
Well,
Uh, Yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry.
For the last corner, I will not overtake here. I will try to stay close, get a very good exit, and use the draft right here on the straight. And again, turn one. Just divide this into two. If you're going too wide, if you're going three wide, or I've seen four wide here, just divide this section into two, and this is one car, another car, and another car. But that is way too risky. Way too risky. So be
Well,
careful in turn one.
there you have it, folks, from the legend himself, Professor, aka Coach Cardo, CardoRacing.com. Thank you so much, Cardo, for another great informational session and detailed track walk. This will be posted on YouTube in about 24 hours. So if you want to go back and have a look at it, you could look at it as a replay on Twitch or go back to the VOD on YouTube. So thank you all for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to join our Discord and our coaching session. Coach Cardo is there. He will answer some questions, but if you really want to get into the nitty gritty and fix some wrongs and break old bad habits, uh, definitely book a session with him. It's !coach in chat, Coach Cardo or CardoRacing.com. Thank you so much. Cardo, again,
Thank you.
appreciate your time and hope you have a great night, great day, great afternoon wherever you are. And
Thank you guys. Thank you.
see you guys on Saturday for another 2-hour, 40-minute solo enduro test of physical and mental strength and determination and pure pace and strategery. Good luck to all racing there. If you haven't signed up yet, join our Discord, Discord. Someone already posted it. Thank you so much. And see you all there.
Thank you guys.